Hello.
Hi there.
Hello. Thank you for joining us for this workshop. Lais, your voice. I'm Eloise Williams.
I'm Gruffudd Owen.
I'm Taylor Edmonds.
Anni Llŷn ydw I.
The four of us are poets and writers, and we've prepared this workshop together for you.
The purpose of the workshop is to introduce you to the Senedd. What exactly is the Senedd, what happens there, and how it affects our lives. There will also be creative tasks for you to do to bring it all to life.
This workshop is a partnership between Literature Wales and the Senedd.
Get ready to learn and have lots of fun. Life is full of choices. You've probably made hundreds of choices today without even thinking about it. For example, which sock should I put on first, left or right? What shall I have for breakfast? What colour biro shall I use? But have you considered who's responsible for making the really big decisions in Wales that affect all of our lives? Decisions like which books should you study at school, or how often should the bins be collected, or how much money should be spent on hospitals, leisure centres, or building new roads? Part of the answer can be found here. This is the Senedd, or the Welsh Parliament in Cardiff Bay. This is where lots of Wales's big decisions are made. But who makes these decisions? Well, there are 60 members who represent different parts of Wales, and they're chosen by the people of Wales to make decisions on their behalf via an election. This is called democracy. Very simply, democracy means the choice of the people, and we can show democracy in action by a simple experiment with your class right now. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. Which does your class prefer, football or rugby? Now, teachers, get ready to get counting, and remember you only get one vote each. No voting twice because you can't decide. So, hands up out of the two choices. Who prefers football? 3, 2, 1, hands up and hands down. And who prefers rugby? 3, 2, 1, hands up and hands down. Very good. So now you've counted your votes, you should have a clear idea of which sport is your favourite in your classroom, football or rugby. But remember, democracy never stops, so in time you might change your mind, which is why a new Senedd is voted for every 5 years. Of course, choosing members of the Senedd is a little more complicated than choosing between football or rugby. So in every election, literally hundreds of individuals stand for that election, and they have different ideas and priorities about what Wales should look like. All of a sudden, decision making becomes a little more complicated. So for the next task, I'm going to give you more than two choices. I'm a writer, and part of a writer's job is to choose the best words and lines which work best in a poem or a story. So let's start with a line of poetry. 3 things that make me happy. If you want to make a rhyming couplet, you have to choose a really good word that rhymes with happy. So choose from your favourites out of these 4. Number 1, are carrots, mash and gravy. Number 2, are football, golf and rugby. 3, are home and friends and family. Or 4, are music, books and telly. Vote for your favourite, and remember, the more choices you have, the harder it is to choose.
Hi Pav, hi everyone. So now that you know what the Senedd is and about its members, we're going to take a look into the topics that members can make decisions on in the Senedd. So the members of the Senedd are really important because they make choices that impact all of us here in Wales, no matter how old you are or what you do. The members of the Senedd are chosen to represent their communities and what their community needs, so that they can make the right decisions to benefit the people. So there are some topics that the Senedd members can and can't make decisions about. This is because for some topics, decisions need to be made in Westminster in London, where they consider the UK as a whole. So in the Senedd, decisions are made more locally that affect Wales. And we also see this in Scotland and Northern Ireland, where they have their own parliaments and versions of the Senedd. So in this slide, we have a list of topics that members debate on in the Senedd and then make laws on for Wales. So this means that we can sometimes have laws that are a little bit different from other places in the UK. And we've seen this happen a lot lately in countries' response to the pandemic and lockdowns, where countries have gone at slightly different paces to each other and had slightly different rules. So what can these decisions look like in real life? So let's take a look at some of the laws the Senedd has made. So the Senedd has changed the organ donation system to opt out. It's introduced a plastic bag charge. It's created a children's commissioner role. It's banned smoking in indoor places, and it's also had free bus passes and prescriptions for the elderly. So these rules have also come into place in other places of the UK, but Wales was the first to make these rules. How cool is that? So now we're going to do an activity based on these topics. So first of all, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 8 and hold that number in your head. And now on this slide, we can see that list of topics that the Senedd members debate on again, but this time they've got a number matching them. So choose the topic that your number matches and get a new piece of paper, write the name of that topic in the middle, and then we're going to create a mind map about everything that you think of when you think about this topic. So there's no right or wrong answers in this, so try not to overthink it too much. And if you get stuck, you could write some little pictures or ask some questions that you think of when you think about this topic. And we're just trying to figure out what this topic means to you and makes you think of. So for an example, if your number was number 3, ancient monuments, you might think of Cardiff or Conwy Castle, like in this slide. You might think about medieval history. You might draw some castle windows and some castle towers. You might write some questions like, why is it important that we keep ancient monuments and castles safe? Or what's the history of Cardiff Castle? How was it built? Or how much do we learn about ancient monuments in school? So remember to put down your ideas and fill your whole page. Enjoy! Okay, so now we know what the Senedd is, we know how its members are chosen, and we also know what topics they make decisions about. So next, we're going to talk about where and how they make those decisions. So under the Senedd building, there's a chamber called a chamber. It's a circular room with a glass mosaic at its heart. And this is the place where the members discuss, debate, and make decisions. So we make loads of decisions every day, and some of our day-to-day decisions can be pretty simple. So one of mine this morning was, what should I have for breakfast? Toast or cereal? Toast. Now that wasn't a hard decision, was it? I didn't have to talk to anyone about it, or I didn't have to make a vote with myself, however that would work. I just thought about it for a second and then I made the decision. But in the chamber, the decisions are a bit more important, so they need a bit more thought and decision making, and they're harder to make. So this means that the members of the Senedd have to debate and discuss before they make a decision. So you can debate for something when you want it to happen, or you can debate against something when you don't want it to happen. So for our next activity, we're going to make your classroom into a siambr. So the subject that we're debating today is pupils in Wales should have extra lessons over the summer. So your teacher's going to split you into two groups. One group will be for the extra lessons and the other group is going to be against the extra lessons. So in your groups, discuss the important points that you want to get across in the debate and why you think those things. And then after about 10 minutes of discussion, set your chairs into a big circle and turn your classroom into a debate chamber. So the next step is to debate. So I wonder if you can come to a unanimous decision. I wonder if you can change the minds of the people and your friends on the opposite team. I wonder if you can all agree on one final decision together. Happy debating!
You've heard a lot about the Senedd now and you have a good understanding of what they do, but what does that have to do with you? Well, a lot actually. Your voice is powerful and important and there are lots of ways that you can use it. You can contact your local representatives, councillors and members of the Senedd. You could write them a letter or send them an email to let them know about things that you think should be changed. You could start a campaign with your school council or locally. Ask the people in the town around you what they think should be changed and start a campaign to improve your school or your town. You could raise money for charity. A sponsored walk or a sponsored silence are great ways to raise money for a good cause. You could contact your local paper, maybe write a newspaper article to highlight an issue which concerns you. You could start an online campaign with the help of older brothers or sisters, or maybe your teachers could help you. You could start a petition. You need 50 signatures to get your petition considered by the committee and 10,000 signatures for it to be considered by the whole Senedd. You could protest peacefully. Your voice is your most important tool. You can even put yourself forward as a candidate for the Welsh Youth Parliament if you really want to have your say. You see, there's lots of ways for you to get your voice heard. This image shows the Youth Strike for Climate outside the Senedd in 2019. Lots of young people took the day off school to protest. Soon after, the Welsh Government announced a climate emergency for Wales, and now the plan is to become a zero carbon nation by 2030. How amazing is that? Those young people made changes, and so can you. You see how important your voice is? It's always interesting to hear what other people think, but what do you think? What would you like to change to make Wales a better place? What issues are important to you? What's your vision for a future Wales? If you could change one very important thing, what would it be and why? So let's get started. You're going to use your voice by setting up a campaign. So first of all, discuss as a class the things that you would like to see changed about Wales to make it a better place in the future. Then write a list of those things, and then you as an individual need to choose which issue is most important to you. To get that change made, you're going to need to make a campaign poster. So think about what images will attract people's attention to your cause. What colours are most eye-catching and go with the theme that you're trying to get across. Words are really powerful too, so you'll need to have a slogan. Now, a slogan is a short and striking phrase that you often see used in advertising. You might already know some slogans. Have a think if you can make a list of how many you know and share them with friends. It needs to be easy for people to remember, so make your slogan short and snappy. You might want to make it rhyme so that it sticks in people's memories easily as well. You can see in the picture a really good example of a rhyming slogan. Electric cars don't leave scars. Make sure you edit out any words that aren't completely needed and necessary. I'm a writer and I spend more time redrafting and editing than I do on any other part of my writing. Hope you enjoy it. Good luck.